We're on a quest to find the world's best new music and to honor and promote independent artists like you. We hope you'll submit your music and become part of our competition. You'll find the entry form at www.globalmusicawards.com.
Mark, thank you very much.
That's my pleasure.
So what we're going to talk about is social media and musicians and why it's important for them to know this is a really valuable tool for building fan base and keeping in touch with their fans.
That works for me.
Right.
I love
so
music.
So the first question, though, is what kind of music do you like? I know you
Wow.
love music.
It might be quicker to go through what I don't like, but you know, when I was a kid, I'm 45 years old. When I was a kid, my uncle at the time introduced me to disco and to Clapton and Zeppelin and Cream and all that stuff, right? And so
it's a pretty cool uncle.
Yeah, he was super cool. So my roots are in rock and roll. I love the blues. You will often find me in jazz bars. I will occasionally do some classical music as long as it's not, you know, kind of atonal and all this kind of stuff. I love Broadway musicals, so I love that kind of stuff as well.
Me too. I love Broadway music.
I just
it's not necessarily in fashion, but I love Broadway music.
And and all of them. I'm an Andrew Lloyd Webber geek because I like choral music, so I like that kind of complicated stuff. I'll listen to some country music. You know, I'm from Texas, so I'll listen to a little country music. So that, you know, that about covers it. Some world stuff, not too much. You know, if it's quality, I'll listen to it.
Country music. So what is it? My exes lived in Texas. That's why I live in Tennessee.
That's right. George Strait, I think.
The catchiest line in music to me is.
Yeah, I do like George Strait. I mean, if you're from
George
Texas,
Strait,
you got to like George Strait. I mean, you don't have a choice. Right?
So now, besides loving music, I think it's fair to say you're a social media expert because you spend a lot of time with this, and I listened to your speech and presentation, so I know you know what you're talking about.
Thank you.
So that's also why you're sitting here to share that with musicians.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
So before we started recording, you talked about how you know the music industry is changing and there are implications to that. So tell them.
So I think, you know, from my perspective as an outsider, as a non-musician, non-record industry executive.
You do actually, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my perspective as someone who cares about music a great deal is that the record industry is changing a lot. I mean, I see it as a consumer. We read about it. I think a lot of the changes started with iTunes, 15 years ago, and we just continue to see a breakdown of that record industry model. Then at the same time in my personal life, the way that I'm able to discover music has changed considerably. It's changed for the better in the sense that in the old days, the only way I could discover music was going to the record store as a young person, going to live shows, or getting bootleg tapes from my friends. Now music discovery is a lot different. I can discover music on SoundCloud and Twitter and just all over the place. Social media is a way for me to discover music, and that's something that's changed. iTunes, I can listen to song clips from thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of bands, and so music is online for me now.
But doesn't something always lead you to want to go look at what, like an iTunes something? I mean, it's not like you have the time to spend hundreds of hours and shifting through it until you find something you like. So
for me, the question you're asking is the same question that we deal with in all forms of internet marketing, and it's how do new bands get above the noise?
There you go.
What do you do?
Yeah.
And so when you look at some recent examples of small bands that I've discovered recently, and big bands that I know are using social media, it's pretty obvious. One of the key things that bands are doing is making themselves accessible in social media, creating a relationship with listeners that hasn't existed before. I think this is incredibly powerful when bands are small, because their audiences are small and they can really reach a large number of their following through social media. I'll give you an example.
Why do they want to reach their following?
Well, because their following is where their marketing is going to come from. From my perspective, you know, bands can play venues all over and they can reach 20, 30, 40, 100 people at a time. But if you reach me and I have a following of 20 or 30 or 40 or 100 or 1,000 or 10,000 people, then I tell my friends about you, that's a way more effective multiplier, right? And the thing that's going to impress me, just in addition to the music itself, is, you know, are you going to do something, share something about the band, build a connection with me? Tell me about, you know, through social media, not just share the music with me, but tell me about the music. You know, where'd the song come from? What happened on the last road trip? What's the funny story about the drummer? You know, that's the kind of stuff where I really build a connection. And I'll tell you, not too long ago, just the other day, I was down in Dallas at a club called Club Dada. It's a very famous music. The Dallas music scene is not amazing like Austin, for example, but it's pretty good. And there was a new band there called the Suffers. They're a Gulf Coast soul band. It's kind of a genre they're inventing. It's fantastic. Think Chicago, the band Chicago, with all their brass meets soul jazz. You know, I mean, It's just really awesome. They have got this lead singer. She's got pipes. And we went down there and listened to this band, and I connected with them after the show. I talked to them. But then we got connected on social media, and it turns out that they're following all of these, you know, tweeting all this stuff about where the band is, what's going on, and just before you know it, I'm on iTunes, I'm remembering that I was there, buying their stuff, talking about their social media presence on my internet marketing podcast. I even got permission from their producer to play a clip of their stuff on my show, and just talking about that stuff, because somehow that social media connection meant that they're more than just music to me. You know, it's like in the old days, in the very old days, when everyone used to follow the Grateful Dead around because they were deadheads. You know, I can do that. I can't do that now because I have a day job. but I can, you know, with that kind of social media thing, I can do it virtually, right? So I can build that relationship with the band, and then I'm out talking about them. I'm talking about them in my profile, and it's like the old shampoo commercial. I tell two friends, and they tell two friends, and so on and so on. And it's a lot of times it's just about the band taking the time to talk about the fun stuff that they're doing and interacting with people, and
by way of social media, pushing that.
Absolutely, by way of social media, because that's scalable.
Yeah. So you and I just sat through a presentation about customer service.
Right.
That the very successful businesses are the ones that realize that what they're selling is an experience, that people come back to them because of the experience they have. That would be true of fans, would it? It's not just the music, it's the emotional experience that fans have. And so this Dallas group, you felt a good fan experience because of them.
I had a good fan experience at the show, and even more than that, a really good one after the show, right? Mm-hmm. Because, you know, I'm able to connect with them and their promotional material, and it makes them stand out. It makes them rise above the noise. And you see Taylor Swift, even a huge, big brand, doing this in a very intelligent way with this thing she did where she bought Christmas gifts for some of her fans. It's not like she has millions of fans. She can't buy Christmas gifts for all of her fans, but she's doing what she'd like to be able to do for all of her fans, for a few of them, right? The ones she can. And it's a very personal thing for her. And that's not the right recipe for every band, but
no, but it's a symbolic thing for all the other fans.
That's right.
That she cares about her fans and bonds them in a way that they're going to buy her albums later. They're going to come to her concerts.
And it has to be done in a way where it's not done because you're looking for that album buy. It's done because you love your fans, right? Because the music is for the fans, and part of the music is knowing the band. And I think that's one of the things about social media that makes bands that are smart, that I'm really, one of the things I'm really enjoying is I'm getting to know about the band because I care where the music comes from, what the lyrics mean, what was happening when the song was written. All this stuff where you used to have to wait for the documentary 20 years later, what was what was Queen thinking in the studio when they did the harmony on Bohemian Rhapsody? There's Freddie May is in the May is in the studio now on YouTube. He's talking about that, right? So I don't have to wait on that now. I can get that from social media right now today, and that makes me want to use the music more, share that stuff, explain to my friends why I love the music. That's the kind of stuff that gets me excited about some music more than others.
You're very eloquent with this.
Well,
you have a podcast. I know you get to speak, frequently and have your own interviews. And in fact, tell us about the podcast and how if somebody wants to hear your podcast or look you up or connect with
thanks.
you.
Yeah. My internet presence is Late Night Internet Marketing, and it's called that because I have a day job. I think like a lot of musicians, I have a day job. I do the thing I really love at night, which is this internet marketing thing, and I help people start and grow businesses online. And you can find me on iTunes right alongside some of these great bands, right? My show is in the podcast section. It's called Late Night Internet Marketing.
Late Night Internet Marketing.
That's
podcast, right. And you have a website.
Of course, latenightinginternetmarketing.com. What else,
there you
right?
go.
There you go. All in one nice, neat package. And you can connect to me on Twitter and all that kind of stuff from there.
Yeah. Mark, thank you so much. That it's really great.
You're welcome, and go check out the Suffers if you want to. They're going to be on David Letterman later this month. It turns out I learned that on social media too. So guess what I'm going to be doing the night they're on David Letterman? I'm going to be in front of the TV watching those guys because I'm part of their thing now, right? I'm following them around the country.
And since you're a social media guy, you're going to be tweeting out, getting other people to tune in.
Absolutely. How cool would it be to play on Letterman? I mean, especially right now.
It'd be pretty scary for me.
My guitar's not good.
Exactly.
But thank you. I've enjoyed this very much.
Yeah, thank you. Really appreciate it.
Very good.
We encourage you to submit your best music to Global Music Awards. Receiving our honors will impact you in incredibly positive ways and expose your music to a wider audience, including music industry insiders. Submit your best music to Global Music Awards so we can help boost you to the top. You'll find the entry form at www.globalmusicawards.com.